Anybody here live in, I think it's North Scott Hall? Anybody? Cool. I got kicked out of that hall once. My friends went to school here. I was impersonating a doctor. Long story. But don't impersonate a doctor. Glad I'm invited back. So a little bit about me. My graphic design skills are not that great. So the way I wanted to talk about kind of entrepreneurship and myself tonight is kind of in the context of somebody that recently was in your shoes, a student in college. As you may be able to tell, I'm kind of young. I'm 24. Studied entrepreneurship at Marquette. I'm from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, which is a small city north of Milwaukee. And basically I've done, quite a few things that basically have gotten me to where I am today. And that's founder and CEO of Skills Pipeline, as well as founder and chairman of Startup Milwaukee, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But first, I thought, it'd be interesting to see, I started studying entrepreneurship. Actually, I started studying journalism at Marquette, thinking that I want to be a journalist, but as you may know, that doesn't pay very well. Everybody wants to make money. Basically, for everything that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about kind of the lessons I learned kind of well in school. Use education to strengthen your weaknesses. So I'm like a definitely quiet introvert. Like I don't like public speaking. So got to expand my horizons and publicly speak tonight. So really what I did to kind of strengthen that weakness was take a bunch of communications classes, and one included public speaking, which was very fun. And then the other thing is entrepreneurship can't be taught. So I studied entrepreneurship in school, and I'm an entrepreneur today. And very little of what I learned actually is still applicable kind of to my career today. So if you're in entrepreneurship classes, that's great, because there are things that you do learn, like business planning and kind of lean startup techniques. And what you do is you apply those a little bit when you're starting your business, but the real core skills that I use as an entrepreneur every day is kind of sales, marketing, and finance, doing things like buying insurance, which is super fun. I'm going through that right now. And most value is out of the classroom, so you're going to find great organizations like this. UWO CEO, this is really impressive. I actually was at UWM, their CEO group, and this is twice the size. So your peers are kind of your best network, and also kind of the people that come in and talk at these events are really interesting and can maybe help you out. While in school, I worked at Target. It was really lame. For 6 months though, I just kind of worked in the back room, but ended up becoming a team leader. So this taught me how to manage people, because I managed cashiers. Most of them were young enough to be my sister in high school or old enough to be my grandma. So there's some really interesting challenges with management that I learned. So that was kind of cool. And then also working in a major company, something that I always wanted to do, and kind of got that experience, and I'm really grateful for it. Next thing I did is I joined the founding team of a startup called Vital Health Software. They are a company that makes electronic healthcare records. Everybody right now is trying to do healthcare companies, and I kind of say healthcare is fucked up. I use the F word, Jordan. And basically I learned, this company, they were, I was with them for over a year, struggled to find revenue, struggled to find customers, doctors that were buying the software. It's really interesting to see how much you have to bribe people to even talk to them, bring them donuts and stuff. It's really messed up, and those are the people in charge of keeping us healthy. I also learned kind of how to sell to big companies. And actually, while there, forged a partnership with a Fortune 500 company. I was 19 at the time, and they were really kind of amused when they showed up at the conference room, and they were, some people in their 50s were negotiating with a 19-year-old because we'd only talked on the phone beforehand. This is before like LinkedIn, and you could find my picture out on Google Images. Next thing I did was kind of started a company called Cervique. Basically, the idea is similar to Angie's List, if you've ever heard of it. We help homeowners find contractors. Lessons learned there. I had a founder who wanted to do a startup because they thought it was glamorous. And a lot of people, especially at our age, think that, you know, starting a company is fun and, you know, you're going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey from Twitter. But that's not the case. You know, being an entrepreneur means staying up until 2 a.m. to like buy insurance or sign leases or talk to lawyers about things that could like get you sued and you're personally liable for them. More on that in a minute. The other thing is don't wait to start selling your product. So even if you don't have a product, like go talk to people that are going to pay you money and ask them if they'd buy the product and try to get them to like pre-sign up and give you maybe even money in advance to do that. And if you have like a tangible product idea, there's these new platforms called crowdfunding. So Kickstarter, I don't know if you've heard of it, but if you have a cool idea for like a watch that, you know, can do cool things and connect to cell phones, or one of my friends raised like 170 grand to build a cell phone charger that was made of solar panels. So, you know, figure out how to get money before you spend money on building a product. You'll be okay. The other thing is Cervique was in an incubator program. So does anybody know what an incubator program is? So an incubator program is something where basically it's like a 3-month program. They give you 20 grand and they hope you spend it wisely. So we got 20 grand and we spent it very unwisely. Starting to expense, you know, meals with customers and stuff like that, as well as doing things like overspending on software development when we didn't really know how to develop software, but we thought we did. You know, so really spend your money wisely. But the other thing is this incubator program told us, we're going to help you find a software developer that knows what they're doing. We're going to help you, you know, build your business. We're going to give you mentors. And my favorite meeting was with this potential mentor who basically sat in his office with his back turned to me for about half the 30-minute meeting, and is like, yeah, I don't think I can help you. So basically, you know, vet a program. If somebody's going to give you money, talk to people they've invested in before. You know, see what startups have really succeeded with them, because that probably means that that investor has expertise in a specific industry or, you know, a specific kind of type of startup. And just really kind of, you know, talk to as many founders, even if you think that, you know, oh, this founder's been really successful, they aren't going to talk to me. If you would email me and ask me, like, you know, oh, somebody, you know, I'm considering investment from XYZ fund, and, you know, I've heard great things about them, I would tell you the truth as another founder as to what the real experience that I had with them is. Just because, you know, you learn a lot once somebody gives you money, because people giving you money expect a return, and you'll learn, you know, if you can work with them or if, you know, they really won't add the value that they say they will. The other thing is the importance of peer mentorship. So through that program, I met, you know, quite a few friends that had an interest in starting software companies. Basically, you know, some of them were technical people that could help me figure out if the person I'm hiring actually knows what they say they're doing, because there are quite a few people that think their technical abilities are more than they are, as in anywhere. We tend to exaggerate. So that's kind of my lessons learned from founding Serveek. Next startup is a startup that came out of Serveek, where I was like, I wish there was somebody that could help me start my company. There was a group of people that cared, and there was starting a company, people think you're crazy. And you really don't understand that until you do it. And so my friends and I started meeting over beer in true Wisconsin fashion to discuss kind of what the challenges we faced as entrepreneurs and if we could help each other, solve our problems that were big and maybe out of our area of expertise. And that is how Startup Milwaukee was founded. Today, we've built it into a network of over 1,200 people. All of them are entrepreneurs, software engineers, designers, marketers, creative people, just kind of some accountants and whatnot. Basically, we've done this over the past year and a half. We've really accelerated our growth. And we really focus on southeastern Wisconsin, but we work with companies all over the state. And basically what we do is kind of, I can kind of show you what we do on our website, hopefully. I'm being creative. So we have a few different programs. Our Founders Club, that's basically the way we started. So it's just a gathering where we give away free beer and people talk about their problems. It's kind of like a support group for entrepreneurs. We have an internship program. So if you are in the Milwaukee area, actually, during next summer, put your resume out there because we connect college students with startup internships. This past summer, we connected over 13 people with paid and unpaid internships at startups. Actually, the majority of them were paid. Startup Milwaukee ourselves, we have 3 interns who are unpaid and basically do quite a bit of work for us, and they get to meet the founders of the companies and whatnot. And then the other thing that we've started is mentorship program. So if you have an idea for a startup, you apply to be in that program. It's an awesome program. So to give you an example of kind of the impact that we've had, there's a startup called rentcollegepads.com. They do a really cool thing. They help you find an apartment as a college student on your campus, and that really sucks, as I'm sure some of you know. With that, we kind of connected them with the major universities in Milwaukee, and now they run the off-campus housing for UWM and Marquette, and that alone brings them in over $50,000 every 6 months just to basically put ads out on his site and kind of very little work other than that. So it can be a nice business, to build a little company that does a niche thing like how college students find apartments. I'll show you quick. These are some of the startups that we work with. They do everything from nightlife communication platform. It's like a Facebook, so people don't know, unless they're connected to you, if you're out drinking and where you are. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it'll ever make money, but personally, I use it, and occasionally when I remember to. Most of these startups are kind of basically business to business. Paired is a really cool startup. If you're gluten-free, it's really hard to find food that you can eat. Paired actually pre-prepares meals and ships them to your door every week, so you have something that you can eat and feel safe eating. Some of those are startups. We're in the process of adding to it, but altogether we'll have 50 startups up there that we kind of work with and help. So back to the presentation. So what I've learned from Startup Milwaukee is we started with a simple mission to build a network Milwaukee's startup community. And, we've stayed true to that mission. And when I make a decision, or my other co-founders make a decision, we always ask, is this in the best interest of the entrepreneur? Because there are other nonprofits doing similar things to Startup Milwaukee, but they don't connect with entrepreneurs because many of them are not actually familiar with what it's like to start a company. So, when you have a company, you need a kind of a simple framework to make a decision. So come up with one question, that helps you, reality check. So right now, next week we'll be announcing we're building a kind of building that's for startups to work out of. It's a co-working space. And we asked, ourselves that question in our board meeting, is this really in the best interest of the entrepreneurs? Are they going to see value out of it? And yes, they will. So this space will hold up to 20 startup companies. We already have one investment group signed. We have another 2 additional investment groups that we're negotiating leases with, where this will be kind of an epicenter for entrepreneurial activity in southeastern Wisconsin. And we're doing this in kind of an innovative way, which leads to build strong partnerships. We have a landlord partner who actually is kind of fronting the risk of signing a lease. He owns the building, and he's actually has figured out that he'll make more selling an individual desk to an entrepreneur over time than like selling his space at $20 a square foot. So we've really helped him kind of understand how to connect with entrepreneurs and sell the space. And we're really excited that we already have like 6 companies, an investment fund, Startup Milwaukee. We'll have an office there. We'll have office hours. UWO CEO can come take a field trip down there, and we'll show you around. There's also the cheapest we found out like the bar next door is the cheapest happy hour in Milwaukee. Major decision, that majorly influenced the decision that we're locating there. So my startup, my job that pays me, is Startup Milwaukee is a totally volunteer thing, is Skills Pipeline, and that has come out of a company called AnswerPort. So I worked in AnswerPort as an intern in college. And there was a simple business problem that they had. So AnswerPort's a consulting company that helps private equity companies when they buy like a division of a larger company, carve out that division and make it a standalone business, particularly in the IT space. So that includes building a new website, moving an ERP system, which is an enterprise resource planning system, creating new call centers, stuff like that. AnswerPort does that. However, they don't do those projects that work is created through the projects that they do, but they didn't have a way to kind of recognize, the revenue from the opportunities that they're creating. So Skills Pipeline is a marketplace for professional services. So if somebody needs an IT consultant, a website built, a marketing agency hired, a graphic designer on a temporary basis, a copywriter, an accountant, bookkeeper, you basically log on to skillspipeline.com, put your project in, and within 24 hours, we'll give you 3 to 4 people that can do your project, because we walk you through a little survey that asks you what your needs are, and then we find you the top 3 to 4 people. You can interview them, decide who they are. We take a 10% cut of that project. So we just launched the site. So we launched, back in last year, we launched a site that was not well received. So we thought initially that companies were just going to share sales leads with each other online, kind of like LinkedIn. But that did not work. So what we did realize is when AnswerPort, the company that was kind of the epicenter for everything, because we were throwing out all these projects. When we did that, people responded and they actually ended up doing work. So we actually paid for the site, thank God. So doing that, we realized we had to create demand. So we're what we would call a marketplace business. So there's a supply side that we need to feed, which is the projects that are going into our system. And then there's the, actually that's the demand side, sorry, not the econ person. So the demand side is the projects that go in the system. And then the supply side is the people that can do the work. So we had, 400 companies using the system. It was making money, but we didn't see growth outside of, Answer for putting in a ton of projects and people making money off that way. So what we did is basically rebuild the site and launched it. I'll also go to the internet here and show you Skills Pipeline. And we relaunched it a month ago, and we've already made it so we're profitable. So it's good to be profitable, especially when you're funded by another company, because my bosses hated me for quite a few months while they were spending thousands of dollars, not seeing a return. So basically how it works, if you're somebody that's looking for a consulting gig, you basically join, you get leads, we find you the best, 3 or 4 projects that you can work on, and then we manage the payment process. So the buyer, the provider of the services is actually protected from not getting paid, which happens quite a bit in professional services. If you don't have the right contracts, somebody can easily stiff you, go bankrupt. So we kind of make sure that, the people that are doing work through our platform are getting paid well and, kind of getting, a fair amount of money. Here are some of the people, using our site. So you can see we have a web developer, a marketing guy, and a user experience designer. So that's kind of Skills Pipeline. The lessons I've learned kind of is from Skills Pipeline is get on the marketplace quickly. And also when you realize your product isn't working, change it quickly. I wish we would have moved faster with realizing that Skills Pipeline wasn't working, because my goal was obviously to make a lot of money. So we were not making a lot of money for a few months, and we needed to change. And then also leverage your investors opportunistically. So we're funded by a company that really understands the space we're in. So we're meeting with them weekly, talking to them about the challenges that we face, and they're helping us out, connect with customers and whatnot. So that's me. So basically, through my work at Startup Milwaukee and Skills Pipeline, I run into quite a few entrepreneurs. So I thought it would be interesting to start a discussion about what I think makes a great entrepreneur. It's a draft, because I'm still learning. And I would not consider myself a great entrepreneur yet, because that'd be lame. So the big thing is, a lot of people think entrepreneurs are risk takers. I don't think that's true. I don't actually think that I've taken any risk, with Startup Milwaukee and Skills Pipeline. And I think that, great entrepreneurs won't tell you that they made a risky decision or that, they spent a lot of risk. What they did do is they removed as much risk as possible from the equation as they were starting a business. So there's a great Harvard Business Review article, which I'm a nerd and read that, where this looks at the big risks that you take when starting a business, and at the beginning there's a lot of risk, right? You don't make money, you might have signed a long-term lease, you may have to buy a bunch of equipment that's very expensive, and you don't make money, so you're just sitting on it. And then as you move along, you de-risk kind of along here to make the company profitable and then less risky. And then you go kind of from startup to management, kind of around there where there's really, there's risk, somebody's going to trip and fall in your factory and that could get you sued. Or, you aren't going to make your lease payment or something like that. So, it's really, people need to stop talking about entrepreneurs as being risk takers and more about risk management, because it would be really stupid if people thought that it was a good idea to become an entrepreneur to go take risks. Because if you're just out there taking risks and you aren't managing your decisions, you are going to get fucked up. You are not going to make money. um, and whatnot. So the thing is being a strong communicator. So all I do all day is communicate, whether it be to customers, employees, investors, because you need your customers to keep paying you, you need your investors to keep giving you money, you need your employees to keep doing work. And it's very important to communicate with them clearly and delegate effectively. That's something that I'm working on right now, is how to be a better delegator, because by nature entrepreneurs are usually micromanagers. So I like to go in and edit things that my writing person writes for our blog and whatnot, but I'm learning that he's probably right. He probably knows how to write effectively, and he definitely knows how to punctuate more effectively than me. The other thing is be a lifelong learner, so constantly learn, read a lot of books. Business section in Barnes & Noble is like my favorite place to be. There are a lot of great books and a lot of great stories of entrepreneurs. So if you need reading recommendations, let me know. And then finally, be passionate about the problem you're solving. So like when I look back at Servique, the contractor homeowner company that I started, I didn't own a home, so I didn't really understand the problem, probably. And I definitely was not a contractor, so I didn't understand kind of their nature and how they are. So I didn't really totally understand the problem. And then I was like, I don't really, care about if this homeowner gets pissed off because they hired this really sketchy guy from the Yellow Pages. So, really care about the problem you're solving. Startup Milwaukee, I'm very passionate about helping entrepreneurs kind of build big businesses. Skills Pipeline, I'm really passionate about helping the people that do great work find work. So, do something that you're passionate in. With that, I'm willing to take questions.